Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Thanks Cider Podcast. Our guest today is Cayson, who you might know better as Find Me in Seattle. What's up, Connor?
Hey, everyone. Good to see you. Thanks for having me on your show today.
We're meeting Connor for the first time. I guess, am I meeting you? Because I've only seen videos of you. And meeting you for the first time wherein you can actually talk back to me. But I've seen many videos of you in this way.
That weird parasocial relationship where you feel like you know someone because you've seen their face plenty of times, you've heard their voice, but you've never met before.
Right, exactly. How was your weekend?
My weekend was full of children. I have 2 children under the age of 2 at home. And so, just chasing babies around, changing diapers, trying to fill the time and keep them well fed.
That sounds like either a great time or a living horror. I don't know. Which was it?
It depends on what minute we're in. But yes, it's absolute chaos and then absolute joy.
Great.
2 seconds later.
A mix. Wonderful. That sounds good. Jeff, how are you doing? It wasn't your weekend, right? Your weekend starts today, yeah?
My weekend started yesterday, but yeah, I'm in the middle of it now, so I'm feeling real relaxed compared to, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Jeff.
Nice. You did some music stuff?
Yeah, I have a bunch of music stuff I want to talk about, but I also wanted to say when you talked about your kids, I laughed this morning because I saw an Instagram post that was basically talking about how hard it is to be everything for your partner these days because people kind of are a little bit isolated, and even if they're in a relationship, it's just these 2 people that have to be everything for each other, and one of those things was a co-parent. And my brain, because I don't have kids, and my partner and I are not going to have kids, but my immediate thing was Dusty does have to be a parent to me sometimes.
Aww.
And it didn't even occur to me that people, they're clearly talking about you're trying to raise children together, but for me it was on top of all that other stuff, I'm also a child. So
your idea is a child.
Yeah.
So, oh, Jeff.
Yeah.
But isn't that why you choose to have a partner? Is that someone who can lift you up in those times of need? And that's kind of the agreement that you come to in having that relationship is to have that support system.
Yeah, and I think that, we always try to be all those things for each other. And I think effort is kind of the main part of it. Is a successful relationship. It's you're continuing to commit to that every day. But
this got
yeah,
heavy, Jeff.
No, it doesn't have to be that heavy. But the point of the post was that, it's good to have other outlets for things, whether it's another social circle or whether it's hobbies that you don't share with that person or whatever. So just, a little bit of relationship advice, but
I agree.
But yeah, I totally do as well. I think not doing everything together, it's nice to come together after you've been having some different experiences, and then you get to reflect on those with each other. So
does that include the music that you either did or saw? I don't even know. Is it music you made or music that you went and spectated?
Yeah, I kind of hinted that I was going to, bomb the podcast with more music talk right off the bat again. And it was something that Dusty and I very much did together. We watched Eurovision for the first time. Do you guys know?
Wow.
Do you guys know what that is?
Of course,
No,
yeah.
And there's some drama going on right now with Eurovision.
There is.
Yeah, there's a little bit of drama. I'll kind of start with just for anybody who's not aware, Eurovision is a song contest that all the countries that are part of the, I want to say the European Broadcasting Association, so it's not actually all just Europe, but it's these 35 countries that I guess they all air European TV on a regular basis or something. Each country gets together. It's kind of like the Olympics, and they put forth the best song that they have, and they do a completely over the top performance. It's the Super Bowl of music. The production quality was crazy. So I literally watched 10 hours of that this week because it's two semifinal broadcasts that are almost 3 hours, and then the final that aired on Saturday was 4 hours. So I'm completely just in a hangover of Eurovision,
Okay.
I just have all the soaring notes and dances and crazy stage setups just dancing around my head right now.
Is it a consistent genre of music, or is it all different?
No, that's kind of the best part about it. And I would say that it's like, well, the best part about it is that there's nothing American about it. Like
Yeah.
it's completely
Well said.
it's completely void of American culture. So I think that kind of had its own charm for us in America, especially Dusty and I, where it was like just this fantasy lands where like nothing American mattered for like those few hours we were watching it. But that means that there's like definitely a lot of different dance music. I think in recent years, like things have just gotten more electronic inevitably. But also a lot of like kind of heavy music, like metal influence, you know, like a lot, and not just like the Scandinavian countries. Like it just seems like that's a more commercial thing in Europe. Because here I'd say it's kind of like a subculture. I mean, certainly like heavy musicians like make money here because the touring I think is something that's more profitable for them than it is for like a lot of pop artists where the show doesn't necessarily translate as well from like the recording. But like when you're going to see like a hardcore group or like I feel like I keep saying heavy metal. I sound like it's like the 80s. That's like not really a genre of music.
That's the only genre. Yeah, there's no subgenres.
Yeah. So anyway, it was really sick. The controversy you're referring to, I think, is the whole like Israel just being allowed to be a part of it. Yeah. So I guess I'll spoil it a little bit. Israel got second place, which they had a song that was good. I will say, like, the guy that was singing was definitely like one of the better vocalists, especially like one of the better male vocalists. Like, there were definitely a lot worse singers there, and their song was like completely serviceable. Like, it was a fine song. But the way that they score it is that like the judges from each country allot their points, and that's like half of the score. And then they do like the whole like population of each country has like a similar scoring system. So like it's like the people and then the judges are each half and half. And then after the judges went, Israel was like somewhere in the middle. And, you know, that seemed like where they should be. The judges were the judges were kind of whack in a lot of ways. Like you could see that they like were swinging votes a lot of different ways, and it was like really inconsistent. And I was like really stressed out because I was like, man, like I don't know if I stand by like what they're doing at all. But then I was kind of waiting to see how the people would vote for Israel, because I feel like just the public sentiment towards that country right now, it's like a lot of people, because like countries didn't participate because Israel was allowed to participate. Like Spain and the Netherlands, and I think like 2 other countries were straight up just like, we're not doing Eurovision this year if you guys let Israel do it. So they just weren't even a part of it. So like, just based on that, I would figure that there would be like other countries or like populations of people that would just be like, no, we're not going to vote for Israel. But after they like announced the population vote, Israel was like in first place by like a lot.
Really?
And it was like very surprising. Like Dusty and I immediately were just like, okay, this is just like some bot shit. Like they're cheating. Like this is crazy. And luckily, the girl from Bulgaria, her name is Dara. She just wrote a straight up like club banger.
Okay.
It was actually called Bangaranga.
Perfect.
Which I think is originally a Jamaican word that kind of has to do with like, I don't know. I won't get too into it. That song
You're getting
rocked.
into it, man.
No. I'm sorry.
You're taking us into your world, yeah.
That song rocked. There were a number of other songs that rocked. I think everybody's glad that Israel didn't win, just because, among other things, like the one cool thing about Eurovision is that when you win, your country hosts it next year.
Then
so
everyone
it's like,
has to go to Israel, yeah.
So I
okay.
couldn't imagine like Tel Aviv like 2027. Like that would be crazy. So
It'd
they're
be
doing
like
it,
5 people, yeah.
right. So they're doing it in Bulgaria next year because this girl won with her song.
That's all very educational. First of all, I know you're a sports guy, and you really kind of narrated that as though it were the Super Bowl, as you were saying. Like, I feel, although I was a music major and I'm a musical person, I feel like someone is talking sports to me.
Yeah,
emotionally.
Well, it is one of those things where it's like you're turning art into like a competition. So like even like, you know, the Grammys, I feel like is always just like, okay, like this is just totally subjective. Like I don't care who gets nominated or wins the Grammys. It's all like commercial music or whatever. But this is kind of a unique thing where it's like, and I'll make one more Olympic comparison. It's like the years in the Olympics where they don't allow professional athletes to be part of it. So it's almost like the best artist from every country that like doesn't have a major record deal. You know, it's like I'm sure like England put forth this bozo. The United Kingdom got last place. Their song was absolutely like disgusting. Like
musically disgusting.
It straight up was. Like, you can go listen to it. Like, I challenge you to not like want to punch your TV when you get through it. Like, it was crazy. Like, England is literally to say what they say. It's like, it feels like they're just taking a piss because they're like, oh, like, we already have like John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Everybody knows that we're the kings of songwriting. So like, let's just make this a big joke.
Isn't it taking the piss?
Taking the piss, yeah.
So taking the piss means you're joking, right?
Where I'm from, we say wicked pissa. That's
wicked taking a wicked. Good. But is that good? Is that positive? A wicked pissa?
Yeah, if something is wicked pissa, that means that it's good. Like I feel like a lot of people are familiar with like just wicked being a thing in Massachusetts, but like the full way you can say it to even like add more emphasis is if something is like wicked pissa.
Connor, did you watch the Eurovision bowl at all? Okay.
I am familiar with it. I'm familiar with the Will Ferrell movie about Eurovision. But no, I just heard about it in the news about the whole Israel thing and people speculating on how did that happen.
I only dimly remember reading that Bulgaria won, and I was like, cool, I'm down with Bulgaria, and then I stopped thinking about it immediately. And Bieval, where are you from? Because you're not from... he was just talking about where he's from. It's a wicked pissa. And I'm like, where is Connor from? Are you California?
Yep. Like it seems so many of current Seattleites are. But yeah, I grew up in the Los Angeles area.
Oh, okay, great.
And music-wise, I'm a Warped Tour kid. I grew up going to LA Warped Tour all through high school.
Amazing.
And so, yeah, all that heavy metal, heavy rock stuff, like that's right in my genre.
Nice. A fun fact about me, I work for a counterculture book publisher, and I have edited 3 different books about heavy metal and all of the subgenres, like compendiums, a book about Scandinavian death metal, like black metal. So unwittingly, I've become an expert on metal genres.
The last thing I'll say about this, because you just brought up that you enjoy this kind of music, is that the 3 people that you have to listen to if you don't want to go watch the whole thing, because it's a huge commitment. So you can just watch the YouTube videos for free, obviously. But the Bulgarian song that won, definitely have to watch that one. Like, it deserved to win. The song from Denmark, the guy's name is Soren, and he's just like an amazing vocalist. It was like a pretty like dance heavy thing, but like his choreography was awesome, and like everything about that was it was a great song. But then the Romanian, there was this girl whose name is Alexandra.
You know all their names.
I have no idea. I know. Well, when I get into something, I get into it. This was like my obsession this week. But so this girl won the Romanian version of The Voice. So like in between us watching these like, broadcasts of Eurovision, we went back and watched some of her voice performances because she's like a really, really good singer. And the Romanian voice is like super heavy. Like, it feels like all the songs they do are like very heavily orchestrated, and like they go for more singers that can like absolutely just like rip. I feel like the United States is more kind of like R&B or like just kind of like classical, like, just like classical pop music type of stuff with like that kind of a bent to it. But the Romanian stuff was like really heavy, and their song was called Choke Me, and it was like this really like she was going for it. So like that's the one I have stuck in my head, honestly. Like that's worth a listen.
And where do you watch Eurovision?
This one is on Peacock. I don't know if they always air it on NBC, but that's how you can get it this year.
Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed your cultural vacation from America.
Yeah.
Death to America, as always. And I'm glad that our show always accidentally becomes musical no matter what we do. Like, it just is going to. I appreciate that about our show. Connor, are you musical at all? You musical person?
No. No, I don't have a musical bone in my body. I can tap along to a song.
Do you listen to music?
I love music. I listen to it a lot.
You've heard music before? Good.
Yeah, Jeff has all those instruments behind him, and I'm not. I don't know what's going on there at all.
Not even a little
bit. And it's funny. I have this very creative, artistic job, but I've never considered myself a creative, artistic person, honestly, until recently. And So it's very funny how I ended up in this creative adventure when I've never thought I was.
How can you say you're not creative? You're obviously so creative. I have like a long list of questions for you, and I want to jump right in the middle because one of the questions is, how do you choose the music for your reels? Because that's a hard part of making a reel.
It's like one of the worst parts, honestly, of the whole thing. And I've leaned into the commercial side of just avoiding any of the copyright stuff. And for the most part, I try to avoid any of the trendy music. It just doesn't really suit me. And so I just try to find something that has a beat that somewhat matches the energy that I'm bringing to the video, but there's really like no science behind it. I open up whatever I'm editing with. They all have free libraries. Whether it's, YouTube has a free library. CapCut's got a free library.
You just grab it.
And I just go into a category. I usually look for like a lo-fi beat or a hip hop beat or something with some more drum. And there's not a lot of creativity to the music choice.
I feel like I would have analysis paralysis, but maybe you do. Yeah.
Oh yes, and I make videos for lots of different businesses, and I get to the point where it's like I've gone through this entire library and what things have I used, or I can use one song for one client, and it's like, did I use this song already for that client? Do I need to? Can I use it for a different client?
Right, you have to remember.
You have
to have a roster, yeah.
But I really lean on the narrative side to videos. Like the talking is what drives almost every video that I make. And so a lot of times the music is down really as low as possible so there's some type of flow. But I make sure the voice is what is driving the story.
Great. So, it seems ridiculous to say Connor is better known as Find Me in Seattle, because I feel like every time I mention your name, people are like, oh, Find Me in Seattle. I love that one. Like, you're very well known in town. And I am interested, as a food writer, you hear a lot of ire directed toward influencers, first of all. I did that backwards. Influencers. And I feel like there's so many different genres of influencers. And I don't want to be like, you're one of the good ones. Fuck all the other ones. But like, first of all, you don't use the term influencer. I notice you use content creator. Is that usually how you ID?
I mean, the thing is, I'm starting to move away from content creator. I embraced that word really early on. I started my business and I became a full-time creator in 2018.
Okay.
But now everyone's a content creator. Anyone who posts any video on their phone is a creator.
Right.
And I make a living in this creative venture, and so I'm actually more leaning into like the artist word because I do feel more like an artist and a consultant.
Yeah.
And right now the state of content creatorism is what we call yap sessions. It is holding your mini mic in your hand and just staring at the camera and saying whatever you'd like to say.
Yeah.
And I do that occasionally in my videos, but that's not kind of my forte. I also don't think it's very interesting for the most part. And those are all now the content creators. Like, oh, I just talk. And I feel like I put a little bit more thought into my videos. I'm trying to tell a story and tell a narrative and get to know somebody and share their story more than my own perspective.
Right.
And so the way of the influencer is now changed to content creator, and I still use it, but they're all kind of
we need
gross
a new word,
at this point.
You nailed it. The reason you stand out to me is because you seem to focus so much on the subject and the people and do your research like a journalist, whereas, the cartoon influencer is someone who's just like showcasing, pointing a camera at their fucking face and talking about themselves and making sure they look cute, and then doing like, frankly,
saying this is the best
a sloppy
hot dog
big
in
bite
Seattle
that I don't really need to see. But you really stand out among them for focusing on the subject. So I've always been impressed by that. Do you do a ton of research?
Research? No. There have been a few times over my career where people comment like, "Do your research," but instead of research, like I talk to the people.
Yeah.
That's how I do my research. Is I'm not going to make a video without having more of an in-depth conversation about the person and asking their story. And I started this whole thing as a door-to-door salesperson. And so I was doing this door-to-door sales job, and that job was all about just asking questions, right? And so I had this natural curiosity to just want to know everyone's story and know how they got here and why they were crazy enough to start a mostly food business or any business, because it takes a lot of courage to start one of these restaurants, as you guys definitely know. And I just always so interested on like, how did you end up here? And so those questions take me on so many different rabbit holes that it's very easy to not only make the subject comfortable, right? Everyone likes sharing their own story, but just finding all those little nuggets that are interesting and what makes them feel more human. And I care more about the human. I learned years ago when I started this that when I knew the story behind the person cooking the food or the person who owns the business who started that business, when you know that story, the food tastes better. Like, without a doubt. And so I made that change where it was like, I'm not a food critic. I have no palate. Almost all my videos, I really minimally talk about food. Or I don't know taste. I can't describe a food. And so I eat a lot of food. But I know if someone watching the video knows more about this entrepreneur, about this immigrant, about this person who made that food and made that menu, they're going to go there and they're going to know that story behind it. And I think the food will be better and their experience will be better because they understand what it took to get that plate in front of them.
Right. So you didn't start out focusing on restaurants. You were just interviewing people in general. Yeah.
It was heavy restaurants.
Okay.
So I did this door-to-door sales job. I used to make these neighborhood guides, these like printed maps of all the neighborhoods. And so, and we had, tech software that we are selling, but we would put all the businesses on the map. You'd pay to be on the map that we distribute all through the city, and then that got you into the pipeline for the software that we were building. The software was never all that great, but the map was super helpful and people loved them. And so with brick and mortar, it was mostly restaurants and bars. And so those were the businesses I was going to the most. And then when I started the Instagram account, it was mostly like my girlfriend, now wife, was the audience, and she was always confused because what millennial has a door-to-door sales job? And she would be like, what are you doing? And so I just started making Instagrams about like, I'm on 34th and Fremont, I'm going to go into these 10 businesses today, here are the 10 things I learned, the people that I met, and the food that I ate. And that just like became a thing, and people started realizing like, well, 5 days a week this guy goes out and talks to local businesses and gets to know them and promotes them. And that's how my hair grew out. That's how the yellow backpack got started. Was just people realizing I got known as like the guy with the long blonde hair with the yellow backpacks here again, right? Because I was just going back into these businesses over and over again to sell them the advertising. Yeah. And I just kind of like built the brand around that. And then eventually the businesses are like, we don't want this other thing you're selling, but we see that you're being successful on social media. Can you help us with our Facebook page? Can you make updates to my website? Can you help me with these technical questions? And then I just started a consulting business off of that.
Right. So, and you also do like a separate, I guess it's the same business. It's a marketing and consulting business as well as content creation or influencing or whatever. But you are also a paid content creator as well. And we were talking earlier before the show, like some people don't know that some influencers are paid and have a business and do it that way, and some people just do it out of the love of their favorite businesses. Could you explain like how you split that up and
Yeah, it's so now how I make a majority of my income is I help businesses around Seattle create content for their channels. So I have a style and a directive and an understanding on like how do you write a script, how do you film it, how do you record the voiceover and edit all together to make a viral video, should we say, and a series of videos. So I sell a video creation service where I come into your business and I help you for a few hours. We film content, we write scripts. I can teach you anything you want to know about meta, about running ads, about creating content, whatever it is. And then I also have an editing session on the back end where any of the content that we shot, I'll go and I'll make a bunch of videos for you and provide that at the end of the day. Here's a folder with a bunch of content that you can post on your social media over the next month or week, whatnot. And then, so that sometimes features me, but that is what they call UGC. That's for the business. That usually the business owner is the host of that show. And I use Find Me in Seattle as a portfolio and proof of concept. And so there are very few creator agencies, people who will make content for you in Seattle that also make it for themselves, and the proof is in the pudding, right? So like I actually have a following and I make these videos and I have consistent virality, and that's really the proof that I can go to a business and do the same for them.
Do you feel like when people find that out about you, they think you're a shill or something like that? Because they thought that you were making all these videos out of the love of your heart for free? Or living off clicks or something like that?
No, I really haven't got that at all.
Okay, good.
And there's a lot of problematic creators even here in Seattle.
Right. Yes.
Because we'll just keep it within Instagram. Instagram has that paid promotion tab. If you go look at through my videos, anything that was paid, like it says paid. And it's tagged a paid promotion in there. And I do a lot of those videos. It's how I make my partially make my living. And so as an influencer, I get plenty of brands who come to me and say, hey, will you make a video about us? And because I have a very specific way of delivery, I've had a lot of success of brands coming to me and be like, hey, can you tell our story? I have a video coming out. We have these new bathrooms that are popping up in Seattle. I don't know if you've seen these bathrooms.
Yeah, I've seen it.
But
the
like,
truck,
I'm working on a video, and they're like, hey, you are a storyteller about the city. You know, can we pay you to make a video about these bathrooms? Sure, I'll make that video, and I'll try to make it entertaining and educational, so a viewer doesn't feel gross, like I'm like saying something crazy. And then that's the thing, like I don't do a ton of description. If a food business paid me to come do it, I'm not going to say this is the best Indian restaurant you'll ever try. Like I know you guys had Uttam on the show I did a paid video for Spicewalla before, and what I did is I went to all of his restaurants and I ate the entire menu.
Nice.
Right? And then I made a video about like I ate everything at Spicewalla. Here's everything I ate. Yeah. Right? And it was just very like factual. It wasn't, you know, this is the best food I ever ate. It wasn't description. It was just like, here's the whole menu in a video.
Here's the food. Yeah. I ate it. Right. Thanks. I ate it. Yeah, I'm glad that you don't get any flack. I don't think that you should. It's work, right? Like, of course you should get paid. But I find that sometimes I'll be chatting with people or see comments where another influencer, a storyteller, that's the phrase we're going to use. You said that earlier. Another storyteller will be like, oh, I'm available for hire. And people will get pissed and be like, how can you be a shill? How can you be a paid opinion storyteller? I don't know. Like, it's shabby.
Yeah, I think it's really how you deliver your stories. And, you know, I think the word authenticity is getting overused, but it's about how you come across and how you go about it. And do you label those things? There are a bunch of food creators in Seattle that don't label that they're paid for any of these videos. And that is really when it becomes a problem.
Right.
Like, if you're transparent, like, hey, I'm making this video and I got paid to do it, and you're consistent about that, I haven't really seen a big issue. It's when you're not transparent about it, but then you're also like soliciting it. I think that becomes weird.
It is good that you tell people, certainly. The transparency is good, but I'm also like, should we assume that people weren't paid? Like, why assume that, you know?
If they don't say so. I think you should be assuming everyone's paid for everything.
I want everyone to get paid, so why would I assume they weren't? Yeah. That should be the gold standard. Like, everyone gets paid and gets to live well for doing this actual work. I didn't have to. I wanted to do a couple reels for The Stranger to support stories that I had written, and it took me for fucking ever. And I was bad at it, and it was hard, and I hate doing it. So, like, you should get paid. Damn right.
Well, and we have this disconnect now where influencer culture and food reviews have become synonymous when they shouldn't be at all.
No.
Right? Like, a food reviewer, we have very few food reviewers who make videos. Very few. The influencers are not the people in Seattle that you should be looking for the best place to go eat, because there's a million people in Seattle making videos saying this is the best burger and this is the best pizza, but they really don't have any proof that they know anything about food. Like I said at the beginning, like, I don't know food. You know, I love people and I love telling stories about people, and I think if you see something that looks interesting, you should go eat there once and make your mind up for yourself. Right. But like someone like you understand food, right? And you write about food, and like, those are the people, if you want reviews, like, those are the people you should be listening to, not
what I need is a video team to make it for me, because my reels suck because I'm a writer. but I could write a script for it. I just don't have the skills to film it and make the audio sound good, etc. So, all very interesting. I'm glad that we talked about that because there's so much confusion about. I think people just assume influencers are a monolith, and they're not, obviously. How did you end up in Seattle? I'm always curious. I'm from Seattle, and I tried to move away a bunch of times, and I keep coming back. But I'm always curious about what brings people here.
Yeah, so I grew up in the greater Los Angeles area. I went to college at the University of Oregon. Go Ducks. Sorry to all the UW Huskies that are listeners. But then when I graduated college, I graduated in 2011. All the jobs were in Seattle. And so it just made sense. I got a job with a recruiting agency. It was a sales job where I wore a suit and tie to Bellevue. Very different than who I am now. But I got a job at Bellevue, and I moved from Eugene to Seattle and made this place home really quickly. Great. Someone would have to pay me a crazy amount of money to leave. I just absolutely love it here. I think it matches my personality, and I'm more or less allergic to the sun. So going to a sunnier place doesn't work for me. Like, I love the weather here. Rainy days
I do too,
are the best.
I'm so glad to hear people say that because there's a lot of shit being talked about Seattle. My partner's from California, and he also hates the sun and is thrilled to be away from it. So I'm happy to hear that.
It's sad that the narrative for Seattle seems to be so bad. But I just think that's like the negative is louder than the positive because people keep moving here.
Yeah, no kidding.
More people move here than they leave here, and so there's something good. And on social media, I feel like every day I see this video of someone who recently moved here and been like, Why did I wait? Like, what are they talking about? Like, this place is incredible. There's that volcano that we look at every day. Like, there's just people who are mesmerized by the water and the mountains and, like, the greenery. And, I really think we live in one of the most incredible places in the world. Obviously, we have our problems. It's a big changing city as well. But, like, there's nowhere else I'd rather be.
Jeff, how do you feel about that? Jeff's from Western Massachusetts originally, and you lived in Boston for a long time.
Yeah, and I lived in California as well. I loved California for a little bit. I feel like, because I work at a hotel down in Pioneer Square, so I talk to a lot of people who are visiting, and it feels like a lot of the negativity about Seattle comes from people that live here. And because I think that all I hear from people that are visiting are like, oh my god, this place is so cool. I mean, sometimes I get people that are like, where are all the people? Like, you guys aren't like partying the way I thought you would be partying. Like I had this couple from Boston that just were like really surprised that the streets weren't just like teeming with people in the
like
afternoon.
In Boston.
Yeah, and I was kind of like, I don't really know what to tell you about that because I'm definitely one of those people that's like not out on the street at like 2 a.m. partying either. But yeah, I think that when people come here, they're really stoked about it. I had a lady from Vancouver, like BC, last week, who was just sitting on the rooftop being like, God, I want to move down here. I want to move down here. And I was just thinking the whole time, like, I love Vancouver. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, not being happy that you live in Vancouver, but she just thought, like, oh, Vancouver sucks. Seattle's awesome. So it's like, maybe just the grass is always greener.
It's very different to visit New York City and live in New York City. I loved visiting New York City. Living there fucking sucks. Everything costs $40 extra for no fucking reason. They fuck you for dreaming in New York City. But like when you go and you visit, it seems like you're on top of the world. This place has everything, and then you run out of money, and the user experience is not nice. So I don't know.
Things
people
are
in a hotel.
Here, though. I feel like that is kind of the one gripe that like a lot of other places. When you come here, like if you don't have money, it's like pretty hard to afford to have a good time, especially if a good time to you is like going out to restaurants or, just even like booking a hotel. Like I'm sure the hotels here are like more expensive than they are in like other parts of the country too.
Right.
So it just seems like everything is just expensive here. So,
and it's gotten so much more expensive.
Yeah, so especially restaurants.
I've been taking pictures of menus for a decade now, and I could show you the price of teriyaki, like in the city, went from $7 to $17.
Yeah, it sure did. Same thing. Yeah. So we were chatting earlier, Connor, about how randos, will send you messages sometimes, and I also get random messages to this effect saying that this business is struggling in particular and they need help and you should do some content about that. Is that something that happens often for you?
It happens often, and it's been a lot lately.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, like within a period of 3 days, I got 5 messages, 5 different businesses, all from customers, like patrons of the business, who are like, "Hey, I heard this place is really struggling. I'd love for you to go." Someone was like, "I'll buy your lunch for you if you go make a video about the place."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Just go buy lunch there. Like, you don't need to buy my lunch."
Yeah, right.
And not to say, I mean, 2020 was absolutely the peak of when I was getting those messages, but it reminded me of that. And I mean, it's impossible to run a business, especially a food business in Seattle right now. We all know that.
Yeah.
And it just stuck out to me like, whoa, these are just people who must follow me, know who I am, and they're like, maybe he can make a difference and go film a video. And I maybe put out 1 video a week. I'm not spending a ton of time going and creating videos at businesses. I have a limited amount of capacity to do it. And so, it's tough, and it's sad to hear that that's happening. But it's happening everywhere. Like, there's so few business owners that are, people are always complaining about prices, and it's like, there's not a lot of business owners who are raking it in right now.
No.
And so, especially in a food business, like there's plenty that are doing well and making it, but it's rare that business owner is, living a lush lifestyle, at least legally.
Right. Yeah, sometimes they still are. Do you, as I do, get messages also from business owners being like, "Please God help us"? Like,
yes, I do. And all different types of businesses, from services, and my inbox is flooded. They're just constantly, whether they're a new business or an old business or taken over by the kids. I get a lot of messages. "Hey, can you come make a video about us?" Businesses know the power of a content creator or an influencer. But yeah, it's, I have a running spreadsheet of places that I want to go.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm going out less than I used to, especially with young children now. And I can't go everywhere.
It's sort of heartbreaking to hear, especially from the owners. Like, I don't know, I have a finite number of platforms where I can actually spotlight a place that I like because I have to pitch it, right? I write for 6 or 7 different publications, and I have to hatch up a pitch and then pitch it, and then it's not really up to me. If they don't like the idea, I can try and sell it to the next publication, but if they don't want content on it, they don't. You, I guess, hypothetically, you have infinite time and infinite resources and infinite platform, but you have a life and you have to pay your bills. So
yeah, there's only so much free content that I have the time to make. And I think that's the part that a lot of people forget is there are creators out there who are just going to go to the place and pull out the mic and talk for 60 seconds, and that's going to be their video. But I choose to do something a little bit more intimate and specific, and that is time intensive. And so, I can't make it to all those places. Like I did a video about Isaiah from Pizza by Ruffin a couple weeks ago, and I had in-laws in town to help my wife with the kids in the morning, but I went to his pizza shop at 6 a.m. and I stayed with him until 11 a.m. when he opened.
Wow.
And I went through the whole pizza creation process with him and filmed the whole thing, right, for a little 60-second TikTok that I made. And so like that's going above and beyond for that most creators are going to do, but like it can take a lot of time to tell an interesting story, especially if you're talking about food preparation and you want to show the entire process of how this food gets to the plate to you. It takes a lot, and I didn't get paid. That 6 hours is everyone's got a price for their time, and everyone can imagine like, wow, you could accomplish a lot in that 6 hours.
Yeah, I mean, that's an important point. Like, it is time consuming if you want to do a good job. If you want to do a 60-second like selfie stick operation, I guess like it's based on storyteller to storyteller. Like what you do, because it's so good and because it's so popular, because you put a lot of thought and hours into it, and maybe folks don't realize what it takes out of you if you're rolling up at 6 a.m. Do you get paid out of like some sort of monetized social media clicks situation at all? No.
No. The money that Meta will send you is embarrassing. Like, I'll get this email. It's like, here's your invoice from Meta for the views that you made, right? Yeah. And it'll be like 6 cents.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I think people think you're getting a couple $100 a month or something like that out of a viral
like for me, like I post one video a week, if that, right now. And so there's other creators here in the city who might be getting anywhere from 20,000 to 100,000 views, and they're posting 4 times a day, right? Because they're just like, hey Seattle, this is what I see right now. They might be getting a little bit more, but like there is no. There's not enough money to make from these platforms. Right. Like, you have to be selling advertising, or you have to be live streaming and accepting gifts from your viewers.
Right.
But yeah, nobody is making a ton of money from Meta, especially from TikTok. YouTube is probably the best paying platform, but there isn't really a creator talking about the city of Seattle on YouTube that's making a living. Yeah, right. Everyone has a day job. People are very surprised to hear I have a day job. I think they think journalists fucking make money or something, but they don't. And just like social media, like, people don't want to pay for it anymore. No, they certainly do not. Done all for free.
Connor, you don't have a journalism background or a journalism degree or anything, do you?
Nope.
Just the curiosity of a journalist.
It's just curiosity, and that door-to-door sales job that I had, like, taught me a lot of business skills. Yeah. And so a lot of it, and I grew up in restaurants. So my parents owned a restaurant when I was a kid. And then on my 16th birthday, I got a job at a restaurant, and I was working the day after. And so I worked at Olive Garden when I was in college. Like, I've grown up in restaurants, and I have an empathy for, and anyone who opens up a restaurant is absolutely crazy, because it's a crazy business model to get involved in. And so I admire someone who's brave enough to do that. And I just always want to know, like, what got you to this point to open up a restaurant? And it's just the curiosity of wanting to know people's stories and figuring out those questions are. But after that's door-to-door sales job, it's all about asking questions and learning how to talk to people and getting people to trust you fairly quickly to let you in a little bit, right? And give you a nugget that they might not be giving someone else. And then there's the whole art of, all right, how do I take that quote and turn it into my own voice to get the story out that connects people? And the concept of Seattle Lights You Should Know has been like a really successful model for me. Just like once that title started, people really like locked on to like, oh, Connor has this specific show about people. And that was like a big turning point for me that separated me from like a Seattle food influencer to the storyteller, having kind of something different to say.
Do you ID as a food-focused storyteller?
I eat food 3 times a day, like everyone else. And I tell a lot of food stories because those businesses are so popular. But I've realized that a lot of people don't see me as a food influencer. And I think that's maybe just because the amount of videos I make, I'm not going to say this is the best pizza in Seattle like a lot of the other foodie influencers are going to do. And so because I take a different direction on my storytelling, and because it is usually so people focused, I don't think I get bundled in with the food influencers as often.
Yeah. How much sports content do you do? I know you do some, because you're a Sounders guy, yeah?
Yeah, I'm a Sounders season ticket holder, and I've been blessed that they have partnered with me like on a paid basis for the last couple of years, which has just been incredible, because they're not working with, they're inviting a ton of influencers. All the sports teams are constantly inviting influencers to come promote it. But to actually like be paid by the team to make content, is like a dream come true for me, right? Like the Sounders are my favorite team in the world. Yeah. I follow them religiously, and for them to send me a check and send them a W-9 is really like so cool for me.
Wow, what a dream. Jeff, do you have feelings about the Sounders?
I've recently been declaring that the Sounders are my favorite fans to have at the restaurant.
Oh, cute.
And I will say, like, soccer's not my thing. I've tried, like, I know
he's tried, folks.
I know we talk a lot about, like, not liking American things, but the most American thing about me is how much I freaking love American football. Like I'm a big football guy. So, but even not having that connection to soccer, the people that come up are just like the highest quality people out of all the sports fans. Like they're a pleasure to have there. It seems like they're all really excited to be going to the game. It just seems like it's a great environment. So I'm really happy that Seattle is such a big soccer city.
Have you guys talked about the World Cup recently?
We haven't talked about the World Cup at all, I don't think.
I haven't, because I know fuck all about it, but you guys can. And I'll smile. I'll be like, that's amazing.
Well, in the aspect of news, the Seattle Times put out an article that the hotels have been saying, like, it's not sold out. It's not getting as booked.
Right.
Jeff, maybe you have some insight to this. But the expectations, right? 800,000 people are going to show up for those 2 to 3 weeks in the city. And now people are getting a little worried.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that I basically asked that question, not to like the highest up person or whatever, but like somebody who would more or less be able to answer. I was like, how are you feeling about the bookings right now? And they were like, it just is normal. Like, it's not any different than it was this time last year. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I took the job, I was already starting to get scared about the World Cup because I was like, oh my God, this place is already so busy. Like, you're telling me that it's going to get to like another level. And I think the only way it'll feel like another level to me is that people that are coming in from other countries are going to have like a different way that they're like partying. Like, I think we have a game where we're hosting Ireland's. Like, that's going to be like a total culture shock for Ireland.
Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Australia. Okay. So it's like, that's just going to be a culture shock for them where it's like, oh, you guys close at like 11 or like you guys aren't encouraging me to actually like get blacked out drunk right now, or like you don't like it when people are like yelling and chanting and like doing all this stuff. So I think it's going to be, I don't know. I guess the thing I'll say about it is like, if I were from another country, I don't know what incentive I would have to come to like any US city and do this, but especially one that is like more expensive than some others. I mean, I guess, there's a lot of great reasons to come to Seattle, especially if money's not an issue, but like, it just seems like it'd be quite an endeavor that I don't really understand unless you just like really don't have a problem thinking about the money or like the security in any way. But like, if you're just some like normal soccer fan from some other country, it's like, I don't know what would incentivize you to come here and do that.
Seattle is beautiful in ways that other cities are not. Like, it depends on where you're coming from. If you're coming from the middle of fucking nowhere, if you're coming from a very beautiful world-class city, I don't know.
And
Maybe they like Seattle bands or some shit like that. Like, Seattle has many lures, right?
Well, yeah, I'm not just talking about Seattle. I mean, I think that we would probably do better. Like, I feel like we'll do better than literally most any other city besides maybe just New York City. But, like, even then, like, the European mind can't comprehend MetLife Stadium being not at all close to New York City. It's like, you can't, if you try to walk to MetLife Stadium, like, you're not going to make it.
Where is it? The Bronx?
No, it's like in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
New Jersey.
Yeah. So like, I will say one great thing, or like in, they're doing games in Foxborough too. It's like, that's literally like over an hour drive with traffic from Boston. Like, that's not how it works I've never been to Europe, but I assume that like their sporting facilities are like part of the city the same way.
I don't know the answer to that. I've been to Europe many times, but I never went to a sports arena there.
If you want to see soccer in London, there's like 25 stadiums.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a majority of the Premier League teams, like there's probably $15 billion franchises just in London.
The infrastructure's built around soccer.
Yeah,
they considered it when they built the city.
Seattle and Toronto actually have their stadiums like in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and so being able to take public transport to the game or walk around downtown and then go to the game, like, that's going to be a rare thing here in Seattle.
I have an embarrassing question as someone who's born and raised in Seattle and is very like Seattle focused brand. Where do the Sounders play? I don't know the answer to that.
At Lumen Field.
Yeah, they play at the football field.
The football field. Which one is football field? Which one's American?
The one with the big arches.
The one that's closer to Fearn or the one that's further away from
The one
Fearn?
that's closer, yeah. The baseball stadium's a little bit further south.
Oh, I guess I know that because I went to a Sounders game with Steven like 10 years ago. Okay,
Yeah.
I knew that.
But yeah,
Sorry,
in that way,
folks.
Seattle is way better set up than any other city.
Right.
In the
There's
country
bars
in
and
that- in
restaurants
that
all the way around it. Yeah, there's a train that goes there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say that's the thing that I really enjoy about Seattle, because like I'm not trying to say, because apart from Foxborough, like where the Patriots play, that's football, Meg. They are.
They were in some big game recently. Yeah.
Yeah, they were. It's a great sports town. Like obviously Boston is like a historically great sports town, and like Fenway Park is right where you want it to be. The Garden is like even more so, like where they play basketball. Like that's just like really close to what you would call like the downtown area of Boston. So like Boston has some of that stuff too. And that's what I love so much about Seattle, and especially like now that I work in Pioneer Square, it's like I really do enjoy that energy that gets to exist here. Like I love that we get to have sports fans before and after the game. Like hosting the NFC Championship this year was like honestly like I was kind of like giddy going to work. Like just on the bus with people that were all wearing the jerseys, like whether they were going to go to the game or just like they just wanted to be close to the stadium, because like that's what I remember when I was in college was like when the Sox were in the World Series my freshman year of college. I sure as hell wasn't like going to the game, but like I was just standing outside Fenway Park with like tens of thousands of other people that were just like stoked to be in the vicinity of the World Series.
It's right there by Berkeley, right? Because you and I both went to Berkeley. Well, I went briefly, but I remember being in the building on Mass Ave and seeing Fenway Park. It's right there, yeah?
Yeah, and it's like, you know, everybody's going to walk down Boylston to get back to like whatever part of the city they're in. So it is just kind of like, yeah, Berkeley's like right on the way to
in
it
Back
from
Bay,
the stadium. So yeah, it's definitely the same neighborhood. It's in the Fens, technically.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I think the World Cup's going to have similar energy. Like, I think a lot of people are going to come into the city. There are big watch parties happening at Seattle Center on the waterfront, kind of all over the place. And so I think there are people that are going to come in just to be part of the atmosphere. Because the ticket prices, you can get a ticket right now for like $250 to Iran versus Egypt. But it's $2,000 if you want to go to Australia versus the USA. So I think a lot of people are not going to get tickets to the game, and they're just going to come to be close to it and be a part of the atmosphere.
Which will be even better for like the local economy, because then they have to go sit somewhere and spend money while they're watching the game. You know, I think that's kind of the parallel I was trying to draw, was that like it's with the Super Bowl, for instance, which I would say like the World Cup is like probably the only bigger sporting event than the Super Bowl. Nobody who goes to the Super Bowl is like the fan of the team that's like there drinking beers with their buddies in like the early part of the season. Like those are all like corporate seats. They're exorbitantly priced. Like it's crazy. So I think the World Cup, we shouldn't be surprised that it's just going to be a bunch of people who are like barely even soccer fans or like care about those specific teams that are actually like at the game. That doesn't mean that the energy around the city is going to be diminished at all. Like even if the stadium's not full, it's like there's still going to be plenty of people there that just want to like soak it all up, and those are the people that we're going to be having at all of our restaurants like every night for hopefully like a couple months, you know.
Yeah, you know, this is kind of first day on earth shit, but I'm realizing more and more as I'm on a podcast with you, Jeff, that I need to learn more about sports, because they're just tied to bars and restaurants. They just are. That's where people go a lot of the time to watch them, and it's not on my radar because I don't want to watch it, but you know, everyone else does.
It is just a very significant part of like any city's culture. You know, like you're excited about the Sounders. Like even just like the little bit you talked about the Sounders, it's like I can tell that you like truly love that that's like a thing that you get to be a part of. And I feel the same way about literally just like I just said, working in Pioneer Square, like being able to be feeling like the Mariners and the Seahawks' success actually makes me more money. You know, like that's why I'm like a Mariners fan. It's because it's like the Mariners straight up gave me like 10 more nights that were like big money nights that like wouldn't have been big money nights like in the fall otherwise. So it's like they straight up gave me probably like an extra paycheck for just by being as far into the playoffs.
That's heavy. I never thought about that.
You know, so it's like I'm a big Mariners fan. Still not going to be a Seahawks fan ever. But they did give me a couple games where we made a lot of money, so I really appreciate that about them.
Well, I was raised by a basketball family, and I'm quite tall and was made to play basketball terribly and clumsily. And so I checked out when we lost the Sonics. So if indeed they come back, maybe I'll start following again. But until then,
Hopefully that'll happen.
Supposedly, it's hard to believe. I'm scared to believe, but that would be incredible.
They've been saying that ever since I moved here. I remember I was privy to a conversation when I was working at the Four Seasons back in 2018, where it was the guy that owns the Memphis Grizzlies was sitting at the bar, and he was talking about how he was trying to move the Grizzlies up to Seattle.
Okay.
And that was like 7 years ago.
And
it's
he
like
didn't.
That obviously like didn't materialize, but it's like that energy has been around ever since I've been here, and it doesn't seem like it's gotten like any more or less like close to happening.
People are very seriously reminding me that the Sonics are coming back, but it's scary. Like, I can't believe them. It never happens.
Believe it when you see it.
Yeah,
right?
They built the stadium, so that's the first step, is that they have a great stadium to play basketball in now.
They built a stadium?
Well, yeah, Key Arena is now Climate Pledge.
Right, but
So it's
Key Arena has been there since I was a little kid. That's where they used to play.
Well, right,
and it
but
was
I'm
the
saying
Coliseum.
like to host like Climate Pledge is like a world class basketball arena. Like Key Arena, I feel like I kind of got the idea that it was like, you know, it was kind of a dump compared to like other places where NBA teams play.
So it's been renovated to host the future Sonics.
Yeah.
And not the 80s, 90s, early aughts Sonics of my childhood in that dump, which was called the Coliseum when I was a kid. And was a dump. It was like a cinder block building they made for the World's Fair. So yeah, fair. I get it. Let's talk about news really briefly. Last week we talked about Cafe Suleiman suddenly closing, and it was mysterious, and there was a sign on the door that said, "Pay us, fuck you, pay me," basically. And the employees hadn't been paid. So they closed for about a week, but they are back open as of Friday the 8th. And Ahmed Suleiman, who is the owner, posted a thing on Instagram, like a text image, a series of text images, basically saying like, "Sorry, I'm very apologetic. I mismanaged the funds. We were trying to expand too quickly. They're trying to build a new bar in the Central District." And he failed to communicate clearly that he didn't have any money to pay his employees. Is my understanding. He was pretty accountable in the post, but he still didn't pay his employees. So, you know, like, it's weird because this is such a common story. Like, genius chef with great ideas opens new restaurant and doesn't have enough business sense to pay their employees on time. And I just don't know, like, that seems so egregious, but also it's happening every single week, all of the time. I don't know what my take is. I'm confused. I like Suli. I love his restaurant, but like, what the fuck, you know? But I've also never owned a restaurant. I don't know. You guys have takes on this?
It's really hard when you see it from people that you're like, oh, like, I didn't see that coming.
Right.
It's tough.
There have been restaurants where I did see it coming. This one I did not. I did not hear the word on the scene that he wasn't paying people. So, I don't know.
I have this phrase that I've used for a long time that I learned a long time ago. Sorry to the cupcake people, but just because you can bake the best cupcake does not mean you should start a cupcake business.
Yes.
Well
said.
Because we see it time and time again. People, just cupcakes for example, have the cupcake pop-up. They have lines around the block. People are loving it. You're getting blown up on social media and written up in the Seattle Times. And then you open up the cupcake business in the permanent location, and then you're hiring staffing, you're training people, you're doing the accounting and you're marketing, and you're doing all these other things, and you're not baking cupcakes anymore. And it becomes a whole nother job to run the cupcake business. And if you don't know how to manage taking your hands either off the baking the cupcakes or hiring a partner to run the business, and hopefully they're a good one too, it's just a big challenge.
Yeah. Jeff, do you have any insight on this at all? You heard some whispers.
Yeah, I'll say that I have like a rumor to add that's not, kind of important here nor there, but
we're not a newspaper of record, so you can just we can publish rumors.
I did hear from an employee that left at that time because they weren't getting paid, and this employee found another job, and they told me that the owner offered them $500 to come back to the restaurant.
Wow.
So I don't know if that was like a blanket offer that was given to all the employees. The way that they worded it, it seemed like that was what their impression was, that the owner basically was incentivizing employees to stay there with like a $500 bonus.
Okay.
I guess if it's like you can't pay their regular paycheck, I'm not really sure how you're going to come up with like the extra money. So
Right.
it's just, I have nothing to really say about the feasibility of that or like whether that's a good business decision or not. But it kind of just speaks to that isn't something that somebody would do if they don't like their employees. Because they could just hire new employees and not give them an extra $500. Like, there's plenty of places that have the attitude that their employees are completely replaceable.
Yeah, that's true.
So it seems like in this case, Cafe Suleiman, the owner does not feel like their employees are completely replaceable, at least to that extent. So I feel like I have some sort of... I'm inclined to feel more positively about the situation in some ways based on that rumor.
Sully is a legend and has worked in every kitchen in Seattle, so he has a lot of friends. So I'm sure the people that worked for him were people he worked with before and has known for many years, or at least some of them. So, like, I don't know, fair fucks, $500, what does that buy? But also, like, it's a gesture that he cares about them and wants to retain them. I don't know, it's rough. I'm not on the beat for this story.
I mean, $500 is definitely not nothing to a restaurant employee.
Yeah.
But it's also, I will say, like, another part of this conversation I had with this person was that it did kind of lend more evidence to the idea that the expansion was the reason why they got in this hot water with the finances.
Yeah.
I think kind of like the easiest way to say it was that money that he should have been using to make sure that his existing business was healthy was money that was going into a business that was not yet open, which is obviously something that I care a lot about.
Yes.
Connor, I don't know if you've listened to any of the past episodes, but I'm the president of a labor union that represents workers at Renee Erickson's restaurant group, Sea Creatures. And that was kind of the first thing that we all said when they basically told us they were going to start taking money from us. Like, they were going to do a service charge, but they needed half of it to, like, continue running the business profitably. Essentially leaving the servers with like a 10% tip, even though the customer like doesn't really understand that's what's happening, because most service charges just go entirely to the service staff.
Right.
And we were all like, well, why are you opening up 3 new businesses this year then if you can't afford to like not take money from us? And they kind of had this answer where it was like, well, when you're this prestigious of a restaurant group, like, the real estate developers pay you to open up the restaurant in the bottom of their development or whatever. And then I was like, well, aren't you guys owned by the real estate developers anyway? And they were like, well, don't think about that part.
Yeah.
So it gets pretty muddy, where it's like I just straight up don't believe that situation had nothing to do with the expansion. Like, I think if they just straight up like had restaurants that people came into on a regular basis and like were eating there enough and their revenue was high enough, they would be able to support their workers. Because like specifically with Walrus, it's like, I know the numbers have been down over the past 5 years, but like it's still a relatively popular restaurant and they run it like relatively lean in some ways. So I don't know, it feels like a lot of this stuff is tied to people not knowing how to expand, not understanding that expansion is not the best option right now.
Right.
But like you kind of alluded to earlier, Connor, like working at restaurants or owning restaurants is not a way to like create a windfall for yourself. But owning like 8 to 10 restaurants plus is a way to create a windfall for yourself.
Yeah,
so I think that what's happening is that groups are basically just trying to like get to that threshold where it's like all these thin margins come together to create like an actual healthy margin, and then we're really cooking with gas.
Right.
So I think it's a lot of people kind of seeing that is like the light at the end of the tunnel for them in some ways, or like that, at least that's what they think it is. But just like it's a hard decision to open up one cupcake shop. To like start a cupcake empire is infinitely harder than that.
I was hanging out at Bad Chonglo the other day, and I was just talking to this guy who turned out to be Brandon Petit from Delancey and Dino's, which I didn't know, although I've emailed with him before. I didn't recognize him, and we were just chit-chatting, and he was like, yeah, people should have to take a business course or something before they open a restaurant, because it's free to open a restaurant. They'll incentivize you to actually open it, the landlords will, but nobody knows how to run a business. And he was actually really sympathetic. He's like, I've been running Delancey for 17 years, and I couldn't open it today with all of the permitting issues and regulations and payroll tax and hourly wages, et cetera, et cetera. Like, things have changed, and people don't realize that it's really fucking hard to open a restaurant and run it correctly these days. And he was sympathetic, and he just pointed out some things that I don't know, because I've never owned a restaurant. I don't know. It's so rough out there. I feel like when I say it's rough out there for restaurants, I'm going to look back on this episode in 6 months and be like, oh, I thought it was rough back then. Now it's even, it just doesn't get better, seemingly.
Yeah, you said something about how 2020 was like the worst year for or there seemed to be a desperation of people reaching out to you, Connor. And I was like, man, 2020 seems like better than what's going on now.
Well, it was the lockdown, so you couldn't even open.
Yeah, that was obviously like a really, unique circumstance. But as far as like inflation and just like how desperate
now it's
seems.
Normal stuff. Like the pandemic is
right.
A circumstance that you couldn't avoid. This is just like normal life that's creating
It's
so
just
much challenge.
it's just untenable at this point, like because of the situation that we're accustomed to at this point. And we've just continued to normalize, like you said, that's how $7 teriyaki becomes $17 teriyaki.
Right. Well, I wish Sully well. I appreciated his thorough accountability in his post on Instagram. That's something that other people who have made the same mistakes didn't necessarily do. Sure, everyone knows who I'm talking about. But I wish him well, and I hope the new bar goes well, and I hope he doesn't do it again, for God's sake. I am pulling for Cafe Suleiman. I love that place. And they just got a James Beard nomination. They were in my best restaurants list last year. Like, I'm pulling for them. So, should we talk about what we ate this week?
Yeah, let's promote some restaurants.
Okay.
Speaking of it.
Connor, you want to go first?
Yeah, I got a nice list here. I've been going to a lot of business lately. I brought up the World Cup. I'm doing this project for the World Cup called the Sea Beacon Project. There's these neon whale tails that are getting put at a bunch of businesses across the city, and they hired me to do a series of videos about me delivering the beacon to there's 500 beacons going out in the city, but I'm featuring 30 different businesses. And so I've been running around like crazy meeting different business owners, and I hate to say this, but it was my first time going to Cafe Flora.
Okay.
I also went to Flora Bakehouse this morning for the first time, and I met their owner, Nat, who was just wonderful, and one of the oldest vegetarian restaurants in the entire country. They've been around. I mean, that's like Seattle staple right there.
30 years old? Older?
They're 35, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
And cinnamon roll is as good as everyone says it is. I mean, that's like their famous thing that's there, and it's just a beautiful place. And so Cafe Flora is new atop my list.
Great.
And then I got two more places. One is a brand new bottle shop in Belltown called Offset, and it's right across. It's kitty corner to the Olympic Sculpture Park, and they took over the mail room, I believe, of the apartment complex. Okay. So like the business is the size of my office. It's a tiny little spot owned by a couple, Eric and Sarah, and they wanted to get out of the corporate cycle, and they left their jobs and they traveled around the country, and then they came back to Seattle and they opened this tiny little bottle shop, and trying to focus on underrepresented farmers and showing different wine. And Sarah loves puzzles, so they sell puzzles also, and it's just like this cute little place. They're working on their front shop seating area, so there'll be like a couple tables where they can serve some cups of wine. And I just think that is so cool that these people took the risk. We're going to open this little bottle shop on this tiny little former mail room, and I'm excited to see what happens with that business. And last but not least, I met the owners of Bite Society. Are you familiar with Bite Society?
No,
cookies?
I'm not. What is it?
They are in Pike Place Market, and it's kind of become a trendy thing. They serve their cookies in these long tins, and so they're these cylinder tins and these little like bite-sized cookies. And they started during the pandemic. The founder, Lendy, she had run a catering company here in Seattle for like 20 years, and then the pandemic shut them down, and so they just started making these cookies and developing this new cookie business, and they sell in these tins, and the tins have these really unique designs on them. They hired I believe tattoo artists. Like all the designs look like flash tattoos.
Okay.
And so they have this like really unique look on their tins, and they went from doing pop-ups at the market to getting like a tiny space at the market to now they have like this big corner that they renovated.
Awesome.
And yeah, just like a cool local business, and it was like, wow, look what they've done over the last 5 years and become kind of this like staple cookie brand at Pike Place Market.
You like the cookies?
Yeah. Thought they were delicious, and they're just cool, and the design is great. And Lendy and her partner, Katie, were just wonderful people, and
cool.
2 people I'm rooting for.
I'm going to go to all of those places, including Cafe Flora. It's been about 15 years, so awesome. I'm glad to be reminded of all of those. Jeff, what you got?
I got one. I went on a little... Actually, I got two. The first one, I went to Hushy's sandwich shop.
Oh, great. I wrote about them, but I haven't been there.
Yeah, so it's at the bottom of Stoneway. It's like it's in the Brooks building. My point of reference is that it's right across from the Resilient Hearts animal shelter, which I like to try to go to every once in a while and just like hang out with dogs. But it was a really good sandwich spot. It's a little bit more like fancy, I want to say. Like the sandwiches are between like $18 and like $24, I think. I got like an Italian, it's all on focaccia as well, so I got like this Italian focaccia sandwich with like, you know, all the cured meats. I like that it had arugula on it. I feel like that's a good move for a sandwich like that. Some sort of like Calabrian mayo, and it was very big. Like my girlfriend and I split one. I think the Italian one was like $22. And I couldn't imagine eating the whole thing. Like I had half of it, and I was like, "That's like a big lunch."
Okay.
Like we both felt like very full after eating that.
Nice.
We got some potato salad as well, which I loved the potato salad. It was kind of like a kitchen sink potato salad. Like the texture of it was great. You still had, you know, like the chunks of potatoes, but it was like mixed up enough that they still served it with like a scoop. Like it just it was kind of like, you know, like a dome of potato salad, and it just looked like you got like a big like ice cream soup with like some of it coming out of the side and everything.
Nice.
But it had like cucumber in it. It had shredded carrots. It had corn. I was like, man, this potato salad's got it all.
Wow.
And it was just like really well dressed. So I was actually really impressed with the potato salad as well. They do have some sides there that you can get. I love a sandwich shop with like little sides like that.
Yeah. It's like a potato salad mixed with a green salad.
Right.
But
yeah.
I read about that place for my column in Seattle Magazine called Industry Entrees, where I just write about what's new. So I want to clarify. I can write about a place I haven't been to if I'm just saying it is new. But I feel like the move would be to get that stuff and go over to Gasworks Park and
Oh, for sure.
have a little
right
sandwich
there.
picnic.
Yeah,
But-
well, they had a really large seating area as well.
Oh,
It's
cool.
it's a really pretty place. They had like outside seating and a ton of inside seating. Like it's honestly like bigger than it needs to be.
Cool.
So I hope that the rent's not too expensive for them eventually. But
Me too.
they it also looked like they had liquor. Because
Yeah,
I know,
they
like,
do.
okay, cool. Because
Yeah.
they had beer and wine, and they had like a whole tap system, but they had
Mm-hmm.
a whole line of bottles above the taps, and I was like, I would not expect a place like this to have liquor. So I didn't glance at what the cocktail situation is. I would assume they're doing like spritzes and like
I think
stuff
so,
like
yeah.
that.
Yep.
But yeah, just
Awesome.
a really really good sandwich. I've been kind of on the hunt for more sandwiches recently, and that was a really good one. Second place, I just wanted to say, we were down at Goodwill on like Dearborn yesterday, like the one that's kind of like down in the what do you call that? Sodo? Is that
The
still
world's
Sodo?
biggest Goodwill. Yeah.
Yeah. And afterwards we were parched. You know, it's all dry in there. You're moving the clothes around. It's crazy. And I went to this smoothie place that's also a dance studio called Fresh. I think it's Fresh with 2 H's at the ends. And it was a great smoothie. You know, I feel like I can't like get too specific about like, oh man, like I have to recommend you like this specific smoothie over some other smoothie. But just the vibes in there were great. Like it's like I said, it's a dance studio. Like they had the room in the back. Like there were people actively like working on choreography. There were some people in the front that were just like kind of chatting. It looked like it was kind of like an informal lesson where like these two dudes were teaching this other guy how to like head spin. Like they were working on like breakdancing moves and stuff. So like we were just literally sitting there having a little snack and having our smoothies and like watching these people learn how to do head spins.
That's on Rainier Ave. Is it right by Kokio Fried Chicken?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so
yeah,
it's
I
like
know
right
that's
when
fine.
Dearborn ends and like turns into Rainier Ave, or like when you turn onto Rainier Ave, it's right there. And it was great. I'm gonna not know the name of this food, but they have like the little like triangles of like rice and like smoked fish that are wrapped in like seaweed. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's got to be
like-
onigiri.
I was just talking about them
Yeah,
yesterday.
it's
What
like
the hell are those
it's like
called?
omen something yaki or something. Maybe it's just I think it
God
had more
damn it.
syllables than onigiri. But
It
anyway,
is onigiri.
I didn't see that. I think that they make it themselves. Like the only label I saw on the little packaging, because it's just kind of something that's just like in, like it looks like it's like a pastry area. They just have these little triangle seaweed things lined up.
Yeah,
And the only,
I thought
and the
it
only-
was onigiri.
Maybe it is, but the only packaging I saw was from Fresh, so I think that they make it, and it was honestly like
Cool.
really good. Nice little snack. I feel like
Great.
if you're dancing all day, that would be a great thing to get some starch back in you.
The next time I'm dancing all day.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen. No, that's great. I'm glad to know about that. I actually was in that area as well on Wednesday. I was on the beat. You may know that I have been really into cider lately. We are the Apple State, for God's sake, and everyone talks about beer and wine and coffee. When we make, I think we have hundreds, dozens if not hundreds of small batch craft cider makers. So I've been on that beat, and there is a furry cidery, a queer-owned furry cidery on Rainier, just around the corner from that Dearborn Goodwill. And I ran into one of the owners at the Northwest Cider Symposium, and he said, "We make cider cocktails, come in." And I thought, I'm not a furry, I'm a middle-aged cis-het unfurry white woman, like, am I welcome? And he was like, absolutely welcome, like, please just come in and try the cocktails. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. And I went in at 5 p.m. right when they opened, and had a cider-based cocktail with Malort and lime and Ango bitters. They put it in the slushy machine. It was amazing. It'll go up against a frosé, a brunch time frosé any day. It was fucking delicious. And then I ended up staying there till like 10 or 11 p.m. because karaoke started, and everyone was so gracious and friendly to me. Only a couple people were dressed up, and I don't want to be like, it's okay, you can go there because people aren't dressed up, because it's their space. They can be dressed up. They might be on a different night. It's not, don't worry, guys, no one's wearing a wolf costume. There were a couple people wearing wolf costumes. But, like, everyone was so friendly. I really just enjoyed my time there drinking. I drank, I think, 5 or 6 different half pints, like samplers of the different cider. They make it on site. There was a Perry that I really enjoyed, made of pears. There was a plum cider. And it was a great party. And I went in there by myself. I was just there solo, and I don't know, I liked it. It felt like I was at a Comic Con, sort of like comic convention energy at Slightly Furry on Rainier Avenue and Charles Street.
I love a slushy machine.
I know, put anything in the slushy machine and I'm thrilled. But I thought a cider cocktail slushy would be too sweet, and it wasn't. I tried the cider by itself. It had roasted cinnamon in it, but it wasn't like a sugar bomb. But also they put Malort in it, so if it were too sweet, the Malort would tone it down, right? And then I went to Not Bad Sandwiches, which Jackie Variano wrote about in Seattle Times recently. It is in downtown Tacoma in the basement of the Courthouse Square. It's one of the former executive chefs from Le Pichet. His name's Dave Cooper. And he decided that Tacoma had a more Midwestern feel, and he liked it. So he moved down here with his partner and opened the sandwich shop. So it's French-ish in the style that Le Pichet is French-ish. And I had an incredible jambon beurre with French-style or Parisian-style ham, sea-salted French butter, thinly sliced Gruyere, So I normally use sea Gruyere melted. It was very, very thinly sliced, and cornichons, little pickles. You didn't even slice the cornichons; they were just whole in the sandwich, and it was on a Grand Central Bakery baguette. It was fucking incredible. It was $15. It was massive. I ate half of it and then ate another half later for dinner. It was a ton of food for $15 and so perfect, like so moist. The bread was so good. The guy was cool as hell. He gave me a rye chocolate chip cookie made with rye flour. And then we went back. I took Steven on the weekend because they were showing Fantastic Planet from 1973, which is like an animated French surrealist movie. And we sat there and watched a weird French cartoon movie from the 70s and ate different sandwiches. He got the chicken schnitzel, and I got like a pot roast with labna on it, and like a rotkraut, which is the red cabbage sauerkraut. It was so good. Everything was so good. I was really impressed. So you got to go to Not Bad Sandwiches in downtown Tacoma.
Cool.
And I hear people, I live in Tacoma, so people are always like, oh, I want to go down to Tacoma, but it's so hard. This place is right downtown, so if you took the train or the bus, it'll drop you off right at Not Bad. You can get your sandwich and you can hop right back on the train if you want. It's not very time consuming. And then I stopped for just 1 minute.
Idea.
What's that?
That's a good video idea. If I have a day that's available.
Tacoma? Tacoma's popping. Yeah. You should come to Tacoma and eat sandwiches. I'm repping sandwiches today with my giant sandwich t-shirt.
Yeah, that's a great sandwich shirt.
Thanks. I think I got it on eBay. I think it's from the 80s. There's so much good food in Tacoma, and I don't want to be like, it's cheap, because I want people to get paid, but it's Seattle in the late 90s prices, for sure. You get a Rainier beer for $2.75 down here. Like, it's cheap. You should do a video on Tacoma. And then I stopped at McCoy's Firehouse for a minute because I missed my bus in Pioneer Square. And I just kind of walk by that place all the time. It's been there since the 90s. I think I thought of it as like kind of a right-wing, thin red line bar, right? But what I didn't realize is that two of the bartenders bought it a couple years ago. And they have an in-house butcher who butchers pigs in the historic basement. So, there's the underground tour in Pioneer Square, and all of the basements used to be the first floors, and then they lifted the whole, because it was flooding, they lifted the streets up. So underneath, one of the owners was like, oh yeah, we have an in-house butcher, like come downstairs and do a tour of our butchery. So he showed me all the marble countertops, and he's like, this used to be the front door until they lifted up the streets, like it's from a building from the 1890s or something like that. I didn't get to try the smoked meats. He showed me the walk-in smoker. They've got a whole barbecue operation in the basement of McCoy's Firehouse. I had no idea. So I just sat there and drank a drink and waited for my bus. But I want to go back ASAP to McCoy's Firehouse. It's also just like a great little shitty dive. I don't know, with exposed brick. Yeah. Do you hang out there?
I've been there a couple times.
Yeah.
It's a good, like, the prices are great. I feel like that's definitely one thing that stands out to me, is that it's more affordable than a lot of places that are around there. The one time I had a memorable experience there, the last Mariners game of last season, I watched at McCoy Firehouse because I was at work. I got off work once the game started, and I was like, man, I think it was a game 7. I'm not sure, but it was one of those things where it's like, I want to be among Seattleites. Like I want to be around with like the really like normal Seattleites, and it just felt like McCoy's Firehouse was the place to do that.
Yeah.
So I hunkered down there and like got some dinner and just straight up watched like a couple hours of that baseball game and really just like took in the whole atmosphere.
Okay.
And it obviously ended in tragedy, and there were people just like slumped down in their seats and like yelling to themselves and like mumbling outside, like pacing. So I felt bad, but at the same time I was like, wow, like what a special experience to just be among all these people that like really cared about this. I was hoping to see something awesome, but instead it kind of ended in people being sad. But either way, it was
not the bar's fault, I guess. Yeah. Was this recently? Did you try the barbecue?
I didn't try the barbecue, and I was unaware about what you said with the butchery as well. But they do just have like a burger melt, or a patty melt, I guess is what it's normally called. Okay. And I'm a sucker for a patty melt.
I love a patty melt.
Yeah, I just love that they have stuff like that. So I just got a straight up patty melt, like rye and a bunch of mustard put on it. Really good.
I actually mentioned to Steven, I'm like, oh, I ended up at McCoy's Firehouse, and I never remember about that place. Like, I just never go there. And he's like, that place is great. You just go sit and watch a sports game, but don't eat the food. And I was like, funny you should say that. There's new owners, and now they do in-house smoked meats. And he's like, no shit. Like, the food was so just nothing. It just didn't taste like anything. And I'm like, well, let's go back and try it, because if they're butchering pigs whole in the basement, there's some dedication to the bit, right? Hypothetically. So... Connor, have you been to McCoy's?
Not since the new owners took over. I had a brief phase in my life when I'd go there before Sounders games. I've been to over 250 Sounders games. In the last 15 years. So I've adventured all through Pioneer Square and CID before games and just eaten everywhere. And we seem to get into like little moments where it's like, oh, we're going to McCoy's for 10 weeks. And so there was a brief time in my younger years where I used to drink before sporting events. I ended up there. But yeah, I'm going to have to go seek out this barbecue.
I have to credit Mark DeJoy, my sometimes co-host, who I texted him like, Mark, you need to add this to your dive bar list on Eater, because he does the updates on that. And he's like, you know what? McCoy's is so great. I heard a rumor that they have an on-site like staff butcher now. But it's probably not true. And I'm like, I'm going to go ask the owner. And in fact, it was true. So thank you, Mark. I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have thought to ask if Mark hadn't pointed that out. So
that's too unique of a rumor to not be real.
Right. He was like, it can't be true. But it was. So I think that'll do it for today. Connor, thank you so much. I wanted to say earlier, I'm so glad that you brought your curiosity to Seattle and devote it to our city. You hear so much shit talked on Seattle lately, and like, fine, fuck them, who cares? But I'm thrilled that you are applying your curiosity to our city and that your brand is so heavily Seattle focused. Like, it's really a boon to the Seattle restaurantscape. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. If I can make a difference in one business's at least next couple of weeks, like, that's a win for me, and it's been incredible to see how many people enjoy watching the art.
I think you really are making a difference. And again, as we were saying earlier, like, not all influencers are created equal. Like, you're one of the good ones. Fuck all the other ones, right?
Well, I've been doing this a long time now, right? I started my channel in 2016. I've seen many eras of influencers in Seattle. There's very few people who are still creators now who were around in 2016. And so, I kind of feel like I'm the old statesman the creators now, but I'm not going anywhere. I love my job. I have such a cool, I get to do this fun thing every day. And thanks for everyone for watching.
Well, Seattle loves you back. I don't remember who we have next week. It's not fully confirmed, but I think it's the Cardoon folks. Let's find out. You can cut that, Jeff. If it doesn't come true, cut it. How about that?
Maybe it'll be true. I hope that we get to finally learn about... I'm going to grill them so hard about how they make their chocolate chip cookies.
I really want to talk to the Cardoon folks.
Yeah.
We'll pray on it.
All right.
All right, guys. We'll call it. Talk to you later.